Hi, my name is Nurashki Bitarugani.
Nurhana binti Yusof. We are film principal and communication students. Today we would like to do a film review on Two Cars One Night. Film was recommended by Dr. Nurulina for us.
Some interesting facts about this film. This film was nominated for an Oscar back in 2005. It is rightly celebrated for its funny yet charming, clever dialogue as well as the spirited, authentic performance at the three leads, which is children from what Taika Waititi's own tribe in New Zealand. What gives the love story its full resonate shows that Taika Waititi is very smart in structuring his short film. The central idea seems to be about the interplay of emotions and the experience of time, and Taika Waititi managed to deliver this short film in such simple yet elegant framework within the performances, and he also creates such a magnificent experience of this little burst of first love. So let's journey into one of New Zealand's short film directed by Taika Waititi called Two Cars One Night. The film is about two young boys and a girl. They met by accident in a car park of a rural area pub in Tikaha, New Zealand. Okay, at first the film kinda looks like a horror film because with the black and white lighting and the environment kinda gives a horror vibe, suspicious, but it turns out to be such a delightful and wholesome film. The story begins of a first love that takes place in a car park at the Tikaha pub. Seems to be like there's a 9-year-old boy named Romeo and his brother Ed. They were sitting in a front seat of an old car while reading a book, and also they were waiting for their parents to finish their late night drinking. Later, another car pulls up and the adults exit and head into the pub. Turns out there's a girl named Polly who is around 12 years old, climbs from the back of the car to the passenger seat, and the 12-year-old Polly alone in the car. So Romeo, the 9-year-old boy, decided to tease her, and she decided to tease him back. As time passed, Romeo decided to know Polly more, because he kind of got curious, I assume. So he decided to enter Polly's car and started asking questions about her life. Later in her car, Romeo finds that Polly is actually quite interesting. As time goes, they both kind of built a connection with each other. But later, their parents exit from the pub, and Romeo and Polly decided to bid farewell. Polly then decided to give the ring that she was holding on her hand to Romeo as a token so that he will remember her, confiding that he will keep his promise to keep the ring. Romeo then smiles, stands still, looking at Polly, and also looking at the Polly's car driving off from the bar. It all started when Ed was reading his book, and suddenly he noticed that Polly were watching how Romeo playing with his steering wheel. She was also bored during that time, so she trying to find something to amuse her. After Ed noticed, he told his brother Romeo, "Hey, the girl is watching us," and that's when Romeo made the first move to interact with Polly. In this scene, I personally found it kind of funny because how Romeo tried to bully Polly by calling her ugly and stuff and throwing slurs, but Polly just ignored him. I think he's annoyed because Romeo called her ugly, and as she tried to ignore Romeo tried to call her again until Polly finally looked at him, and that's where he showed his middle finger hand. But yet again, she ignored Romeo. I guess she knows that Romeo is a little smaller than her age, so that's why she tried to ignore him. Okay, after they are minding their own business, and eventually they got bored, that is where Polly turned back the table by showing her middle finger back to Romeo. We can see that three of them were too stunned as they were amazed by the big and long car that drove across them. It shows that how interesting the character of the car was. Our first impression from the character of the big car were how scary his appearance was. Okay, with how the atmosphere was set up in the film and all the tattoos on his face made we as an audience thought that he was a bad guy with a bad background. Honestly, it's kind of scary actually. It was in the middle of the night and there were the only kids at the park without any supervision from the adults, so I guess that made us as a viewer make the assumption that he was a bad guy. But as the boy, Romeo, made eye contact with the tattoo guy, Romeo spontaneously greeted the man by nodding his head, and surprisingly, the man nodded back as a reply from Romeo's greetings. In the film, there were no backstory of each car, nor the character made the audience have their own perspective, as we are. So it is interesting how the simplest gesture changed the audience perspective by not judging by its cover. We also highlight the color they used in the short film. They used black and white to showcase the film was in an old timeline, or perhaps to showcase as a memory for their first love childhood. This memory we tend to look back when we came into the adult world, and there will be one particular moment where we find that how love could be found in the most unlikely places, like for example the car park. And this film made us reminisce our childhood back in the old days. In this scene, where they share a moment where the girl lets the boy inspect her diamond ring, touching of how the girl does not want the boy to help her diamond ring at first, but eventually gave it afterwards when she heard that he would not sell the ring if he ever had one. So those moments shows that how close they can be in one night, like the title itself, Two Cars One Night. So that shows how two strangers can be close just in one night. At the end of the scene, where Polly and Romeo made a long eye contact with each other before she drove off, we felt how their feelings were during that particular moment, like the feeling of wanting to see them again, but both of you know that you probably won't see each other ever. So it became more sentimental during the goodbyes by how Polly showed it, like the way she impersonated Romeo's signature greeting people by nodding his head with a smirk. Like before she drove off, she nodded her head like that. And Romeo smiled. And that was how Polly ends their special moment. It's the unexpected type of friendship that creates something special in a not so special environment. And we find it's kind of cute actually. When we watch this scene, we kind of chuckle a bit. So we are coming up at the very end of this interesting journey in Two Cars One Night short film. Clearly, despite having a simple yet sweet storyline, the film itself packs a lot of interesting information that can be captured by the audience and the filmmakers as well. We want to conclude that in Two Cars One Night short film does not depend heavily on dialogue, but it's rather than a simple small talk conversations among children. This is where the title of the short film Two Cars One Night plays a huge role by providing us with clear information regarding each unique characters, background stories, and how they behave with each other. Besides that, each scene were carefully planned through body languages and also camera shot. Moreover, the display of each unique characters and background stories and also how they behave with each other through their own cast really tease our emotional sensory, especially when the main character, Romeo and Polly, showed emotions that relates to our own life when we are bored children and is trying to make new friends. Honestly, in our opinion, this film itself is such a great masterpiece created by Taika Waititi himself, because the film is touching the audience heart when each of them began their wholesome journey after a long night at the bar while waiting for their parents to finish their late night drinking. The realism implementation sparks into the mind for the audience. Most people indulge in various kinds of films such as action, comedy, horror, and other kinds of film to accommodate their entertainment needs every day. When we watch this film created by Taika Waititi himself, we may react by exhibit feelings along the way, but it's because we are made that way because we are human. And you can also say that we venture our minds through that suits their best interest.
So that is all our review for the short film of Two Cars One Night from Taika
Waititi. We hope you enjoy our honest film review regarding this short film, and we highly recommend you to watch this short film. It's all over in YouTube, so check it out.